Hello, and welcome to the Mo Show once again. I appreciate you tuning in like always. Today is going to be a great show. I will be meeting with two professionals and we're going to do a show on teen dating. Fortunately, I've been receiving a lot of fan mail and Mo, when are you going to do your next show? And we would love to hear from teenagers because, you know, it's 2011 and things have changed. So we're dealing with a new generation here, so I am so excited. I'm actually running behind, so I need to hurry up and get there and be prepared for them. But these are two professionals who will give us their utmost honesty, respect, and true feelings on teenage dating. I cannot wait. Let's go. Good evening, everybody. I'm here today with Professor T.
Good evening.
And I'm here today with Professor Brown.
Hello.
First question, we're just going to jump right in. Let's see, we did flip a coin, and who won the coin toss on this one?
I believe it was Mr. Woods.
Okay, Professor T, okay.
T.
Thank you. Alright, first question, parent accept teenage dating?
They should be very cautious of who they're dating. But not too cautious. You can't suffocate your children. For growth is natural in the learning process. It's just natural. It's a natural concept. It must be done in order to have a healthy lifestyle. Everybody goes through this stage. It's just a hormonal process which translates into farther growth and meditation.
I'm sorry, sir, you lost me there. You said a hormonal what?
A hormonal change.
A hormonal change. So you're saying that a parent should, it's okay that your teenage child wants to date?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. And I do apologize for cutting you off, but I do want to get Brown's intake on that. Parents and dating.
In my opinion, Professor T is correct, but you must be very cautious because you don't know what your children are doing if they are out in such notice of time. Let's say if I had a daughter.
Okay.
And my daughter was dating this young gentleman. And they came home, she came home, past curfew. Wouldn't you want to know what they were doing? Wouldn't you?
Oh, of course I would.
Okay, so while saying that, as you are going through a hormonal change, you still must teach your children that there are laws and concepts of your rules while they're still living in your house. Okay?
All right, so yes, I hear you. Anything you want to add to that, sir? Professor T?
Everything you just said was almost wrong. Okay. Yes, your children should have a curfew. But if your children go past curfew by a couple of minutes, you shouldn't get aggravated. Just follow that. There are times and places for everything in action. Your children, if you trust them, then they are able to do things on their own. If their curfew is the street lights which come on at 6, and they come home at 6:05, you cannot assume something happened. You better have facts or proof or at least know the boyfriend well in order to assume and process things in your own.
Well, that's what I will have to agree with you there, Mr. Woods. Let's say your child does come home around 5, let's say 6 minutes late. You would not want to know what they were doing, but let's say they weren't. They were like 15 minutes late. Now, there's a time span, 5 minutes from 15. There's 10 minutes there. You can possibly rob a bank in 10 minutes. It has been done, but it has also been failed. Now, with that said, please let me speak. With that said, I would like to know what my children are going to do and what they are doing in the time of the process while they're out. But
wow,
it all comes back to the parent. If you didn't raise your child right, then you don't know what they're gonna do. And more than possibly, if you didn't raise your child right, you're not gonna know. You're not gonna care where they were at a certain time.
Now that is a good point. I'm sorry, keep going.
And even if they do come home 15 minutes late, so what? If I had a son, and we were at one time young, we do stuff. We lose track of time. Indeed. It happens.
Indeed.
If you come home 2, 3 hours late, now that's something you got to worry about. So where were y'all at? What were y'all doing? Did you take any pictures or anything? If my daughter asked me for an extra hour, couple hours on curfew, I won't tell her. Take pictures, make sure you take nap time, notes, make sure she has track.
Exactly.
Interesting. Where should you go on a first date? What's your views on first dates? And please emphasize if you may.
I believe the perfect first date is somewhere quiet and peaceful, somewhere where you can talk to your, in my case, female, somewhere where you can talk to her, relate to her, take her to somewhere. I like to read. So if it was me, I'd take her somewhere where I can relate to. I'd take her to the library or somewhere nice and peaceful, or out to a dinner or anywhere but a movie.
Okay, anywhere but a movie. Okay, for a first day, I understand that. Mr. Brown?
Well,
I'm sorry, Professor Brown.
That's fine. Well, let's say that, because I am a big movie fan, and the woman that I am dating, in my case, likes to see movies. I would take her out to a movie, probably go out for a nice stroll in the park, walk downtown, what so. But then, after that, I would sit down and talk about what she likes, because I already know about me. I would just like to know more about the person that I'm going to be spending my time with.
Okay, so basically, you're both saying get to know them first on the first date, take them out, will you be able to talk, and then later like to a movie and things like that. But just as long as you get to know that person, right?
Yes.
Okay. And well, you know, relationships aren't always peaches and cream. You do have arguments. Okay, you passed the first date stage. Now you're dating for like 7 months. If your woman, per se, comes home 30 minutes late, and say for instance you told her to be there about 5 o'clock, you was going to call her about 5, it's a Saturday, and she's not there. How would you handle that situation? Professor Brown, would you start, please?
Well, in my case, I'm always on time, and it's unacceptable. It's an unacceptable excuse for you to be late. What point ever? I understand.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes. I mean, okay, if your mother has gotten in a car accident, I will be most sympathetic. I'll be heartbroken. But let's say you're just at a friend's house, or what called. I set a certain time, a certain place. You should be there that time. You should not be there a minute or 2 late.
Oh my gosh.
You can either be there, you can be there 3 hours early. I wouldn't be mad. But it's rather be 3 hours early than 5 minutes late.
Professor T, what is your take on that?
That was inexcusable crime. How dare you treat your woman like that? That is inexcusable. If your woman comes home 5 minutes late and you had a dinner reservation for 5, I would tell my woman it's okay, we can go out tomorrow. But I'm not going to judge her by the time she was late. If she wants to go hang out with some friends, I'm going to say, okay, I do that too. Because I can't expect something of her that I wouldn't expect of myself. And I can't always say I'll be late. And you can't say you'll never be late either, Brown.
It's Professor Brown, and let me excuse you for something there. Let's say you are married and it's your anniversary, and your wife is not there and she is 30 minutes late. What would you do?
Me, myself, and I'd say, okay, 30 minutes late. Guess what? That's only 30 minutes off of our time. There's still the rest of the night and all tomorrow. We can do anything we want.
But wouldn't you be concerned or worried about where she was and what she was doing and who she was with? You called her friend, she wasn't with her friends. You called her parents, she wasn't with her parents. I would be pretty concerned.
No, I wouldn't, because I pick a woman who I can trust all the time, every time, and all the day.
May I intervene?
Yes.
Professor Brown, we're talking about 30 minutes here.
It doesn't matter, okay? I mean, it does, but point blank, you're late, okay? Would you be 30 minutes late for an important meeting of your life? Would you be 5 minutes late for meeting the President of the United States?
If it was something important, yes, I would. If it was hanging out with my friends, no, I'd be 3 hours early, like you said. But there's a certain place and there's a certain point. I'm not the President of the United States. Therefore, I cannot expect her to treat me as the President of the United States.
But Professor Brown, we're only talking about 30 minutes here.
Well, as you can see, time is precious, okay? Time is respect. If you waste my time, you're disrespecting me. And if you disrespect me, you're disrespecting my father. And I don't want my wife to disrespect me, because if she disrespects me, she's disrespecting my father.
Whoa.
You can't disrespect somebody else for somebody else being late. Now, what kind of sense does that make? You should be ashamed of yourself to be called a professor. I would not be surprised if your woman made you some grits, some hot grits, splashed them all over your face, and then hit you upside the head with a frying pan.
Okay.
You are crazy.
Excuse me, but if my woman ever tried to throw me some hot grits in my face, it would be on, okay? What would you do, Mr. Sensitivity, if your woman cooked you some hot grits and threw it in your face? What would you do?
I sit there and take it like a man because you can't disrespect somebody else for somebody else being late. And I know you better not hit her, because if you hit her, I'll come to your house and I'm going to hit you. And I know your mama raised you better than that. I know your mama raised you better than that. I know your mama.
You don't even know Emma. I don't even know how you said you know my mother. Have you been stalking me? And just to let you know, FYI, you don't know where I live, and my wife is going to be there on time. Because if she does that again, I'm taking that word man off her finger, and I'm going to give it to someone else who is precious and sensitive to my time.
You mean a hooker?
How dare you call me a gigolo?
Professor Brown, you made an interesting point about a woman disrespecting you. They disrespect your father. I'm not following you. Could you please help me understand?
Well, my father always told me, if a woman disrespects your time, she's disrespecting you. And let me explain it to you. Your father gave you $5, and he tells you, don't spend the dollar. Don't spend any of the money. Okay? You walk down to the candy store, and you buy you some licorice and some Jolly Ranchers. Therefore, you disrespected him by spending his money that he gave you to hold on to see if you were responsible. He already knew that I was going to spend it. He told me when I got home that I was disrespectful. You know what? I learned respect that way.
Father was crazy like you, and your children will be crazy like you, because you are passing a generational curse. If I ever saw you hit a woman on the side of the street, if I didn't know you, I'd beat you down.
What would you do? What would you do?
Yeah, it's from national underground thunder bounce when I stop the ground. Like a million elephants, a silverback orangutan, you can't stop a train. Who wants some, don't come unprepared, I'll be there. But when I leave there, better be a household name. Weatherman telling us it ain't gon' rain. So now we sitting in a drop top soaking wet in the silk suit